Let's start the broadcast this way. There is no such thing as coincidence. Biden impeachment inquiry explained what is happening, and could the president be convicted? Oh, the big question mark, right? Well, I guess he had a trap a long time ago, and he just released that trap. Convenient timing, of course. Democrats blast special counsel Robert Hur's Biden report as inappropriate and politically motivated, but the political motivation has always remained on one side of this equation. After Biden's disastrous press conference occurs, is this the beginning of the end? Well, it appears they had a plan all along. They had something waiting in the wings. No matter the mistake that Biden makes, this secret that they've been holding, now released. Biden attacked her for asking him when Bo died. That didn't happen, sources say. But I guess memory, cognitive ability, make no difference when you have that monstrous trick up your sleeve. No matter the political or economic indicator, push it all aside. It doesn't matter. No matter how big the lie, no matter how Biden tries to point that lie at the other side, the Republicans in peril, the word that I despise, democracy, it's of no consequence because the trick and trap has been released. A now indicted FBI informant was at the heart of the GOP's case against Joe Biden, and the consequences of this now being exposed illustrate the ultimate shell game. The oldest con game ever played just occurred again. That's the story we're going to cover for you here today. My name is Justice Knight, filling in for Lisa Haven today. Can't thank you enough for allowing me to be here. Make sure you're subscribed to her channel. Double check. Make sure you're subscribed to mine. Link is above if you want to see both of us. No commercials, no interruptions, exclusive content, 2 discount codes in the description box below. Get to restrictedrepublic.com today, not tomorrow. It's imperative, because when you see what they just did, you'll understand. You think you're going to ever get your news on any mainstream site. If you think you're ever going to get it on any public platform, that is all going to disappear and erode. It's why we created it. Major discounts below. Make sure you get to today. But now let's get back to this story. As we had started this story, ex-FBI informant is charged with lying over Biden's role in Ukraine business. Let's dig in a little bit deeper here because something doesn't add up. There's a reason we never talked about this contact. Never. The special counsel investigating Hunter Biden has charged a former FBI informant with fabricating claims that President Biden and his son each sought $5 million bribes from a Ukrainian company. A stinging setback for Republicans who cited the allegations in their push to impeach the president. Coincidental timing, I assume. The longtime informant, Alexander Smirnov, 43, is accused of falsely telling the FBI that Hunter Biden, then a paid board member of the energy firm Burisma, demanded the money to protect the company from an investigation by the country's prosecutor general at the time. You've heard the recordings, but you're supposed to dismiss all that. Everything now suddenly hinges on one man that nobody really discussed. We're going to get there. And now we're going to take a quick break from one of Lisa's sponsors.
Now, we have been told our entire lives that wrinkle creams are the way to look younger. But now one doctor says that that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. Well, recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? Well, so that he can focus directly on anti-aging revolutionary breakthroughs. Now, his clients have dubbed this do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years and even decades off of your appearance in 2 minutes' time. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public where he outlines exactly how to use simple solutions from home. Now, if you want to check it out, all you have to do is go to bhmd1.com/Haven. That's bhmd1.com/Haven. Haven to watch that video. And if you want more information, you can click in the description box below. There's a link down there. Or if you're on your cell phone, click that more button to get more information, but you're not going to want to miss it out, as this product has been life-changing for me personally. All right, back to the broadcast.
The explosive story, which seemed to back up unsubstantiated Republican claims of a Biden crime family, turned out to be a brazen lie. According to a 37-page indictment unsealed late Thursday in a California federal court brought by the special counsel David Weiss, who's to be going after Hunter Biden, but somehow finds more time to go after other folks that would exonerate Hunter and Joe Biden. Boy, isn't that just all so convenient, isn't it? Here is the indictment. You know, we always bring the receipts. Alexander Smirnov, defendant. The defendant was a confidential human source with the Federal Bureau of Investigations. But here's where things get a little unusual. The confidential human source was handing information over to his handler that he knew could be used in criminal investigations. They gave a few dates here. 10/1 of 2010, 5/17 of 2011, 11/28 of 2012, 4/12 of 2013, 8/29 of 2013, 7/10 of 2015, and 3/11 of 2020. However, the defendant was admonished by the handler that he must provide truthful information to the FBI when he first became a confidential human source in 2010. And on multiple occasions thereafter, including but not limited to, wow, that is a track record of, well, what they're claiming now is a lack of success. Because they're claiming this confidential human source that they've used for all these years, from 10/1 of 2010 to 9/29 of 2023, suddenly, well, now is a lie. We'll get in deeper into this document. We'll just go with that for now. Despite repeated admonishments that he must provide truthful information to the FBI and that he must not fabricate evidence, the defendant provided falsely derogatory information to the FBI about public official number 1, an elected official in the Obama administration who left office in 2017 and then ran for president of the United States. So glad we left that redacted. We know exactly who he's speaking of. And business person 1, the son of public official number 1. Man, they're going to wrap this all up in a nice little bow, aren't they? And they want you to consume this, by the way. They want you to digest all of this. They want you to take it as breakfast, lunch, and dinner so you are satisfied and hungry no more. And I'll prove that by a statement that Biden makes himself at the very end of this broadcast. Critical moment. 3 years later, in June of 2020, the defendant reported for the first time 2 meetings in 2015 and 2016 during the Obama administration, in which he claimed executives associated with Burisma, including Burisma Official 1, admitted to him that they hired Business Person 1, remember this is going to refute the Hunter Biden information, to protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems, and later that they had specifically paid $5 million each to Public Official 1 and Business Person 1 when Public Official 1 was still in office, and hence we have the problem. But don't worry, this report is there to destroy that claim. Suddenly, this has all become partisan. Even though they've known about all of this since 2020, they've chosen to release nothing, investigate nothing, well, until now. It's all over the news. He sent a text to his handler. In Russia and Ukraine, as well as live calls between Public Official 1 and the president of Ukraine. You remember those calls? We played them for you. Smells bad for Public Official 1. Going to jail. Dems tried to impeach Public Official 2 for the same, a.k.a. Donald J. Trump. Even less. All those politicians, same crap, different day. Jail for all of them. Plus bribe of Public Official 1 should soon be in the news. I think you're getting the picture of what they were going after here. They're painting the confidential human source as a partisan hack that they chose not to investigate for all these years, until now, when a series of events occurred that all but destroyed Biden's chances to ever gain office again. And they went on and on, even wrapping everything back to the original picture. Isn't it nice how they put everything in one little package? The defendants claim that in late 2015-2016, during the Obama and Biden administration, he first met Burisma Official 2 and that in a meeting, a Burisma official too told him that they hired business person one to protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems was false. Let me just circle that for you. Was false, as he knew. So, what was the implications of this report? They also tied in, of course, the big guy right there, dead center. And why did they have to put all of this in the report? Why did they put all of this in report? Why are they now saying everything that Alexander Smirnov did knowingly caused the making of a false entry in an FBI Form 1023? Because you figured it out yet? It's what they want you to buy. CNN legal analyst says bombshell indictment eviscerates GOP's Biden impeachment case, completely discredited. Well, isn't that convenient? Never all a matter of timing. Interesting. But Slate really puts the icing on the cake. In their article titled Republican Star Informant Against Hunter Biden Was Just Arrested by the FBI, they basically go to show you everything that this indictment allegedly discredits. So just how much does it matter to Republicans that the FBI informant has been charged with fabricating his claims? How much has it changed the narrative about the Biden crime family that has become entrenched among both right-wing politicians and media? We can't assume the development will be taken seriously by the right, given Trump supporters' distrust of the FBI. On Fox News, the biggest peddler of this narrative, the host ignored the news, but if it were taken seriously, it would come as a significant blow. Listen to what we're stating. Listen to what's happened. It discredits everything, they scream. The FBI informant, who had not publicly been named previously, was the star figure of a possibly the most credible accusation against the president. According to whom? We're just to ignore Devin Archer, Tony Bobulinski. That's what they want you to do. They want to wrap everything into this unnamed source, who now is conveniently rolled out. From May 2023, in which Representative James Comer and Senator Chuck Grassley demanded the FBI release an unclassified record alleging a criminal scheme involving then Vice President Joe Biden and foreign national. That was the form that contained this fabrication from Smirnov. This form, this article, Chuck Grassley's office, FBI redacted references to recordings and Biden allegation shared with Congress. Something must have spooked them. Man, suddenly pull this out. Why now? What happened? The Form 1023, the 17 total recordings, they want to discredit those. All they want to say is this one FBI informant lied. Discredit the recordings, discredit the checks, discredit Archer, discredit Bobulinski, discredit even James Walker's error, which I'll show you here in a second. Known in the Fox News Internet sleuth community as FD 1023 form, it contains claims from an informant, now known as Smirnov. Need a Smirnov after this article. Had spoken with Burisma's founder and discovered the Burisma officials had tried to pay the two Bidens $5 million each for their help in ousting Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin, who had been investigating Burisma for corruption. If that had been true, it would have been a true bombshell. Discredit that also. As Vice President, Joe Biden would have leveraged his power over U.S. foreign policy to protect a foreign company from prosecution in exchange for a bribe. In other words, it would have been a clear-cut case of corruption, but you never got it through. So then it must be false. What about the Russia collusion hoax on Trump? Because that too was proven false, but still destroyed an individual, didn't it? Man, were you ever able to get the source of that? Was he ever indicted? Of course not. They were never able to bring Christopher Steele to justice. Now, were they? But conveniently, Smirnov, not a problem at all. Nice and easy. But there was a real reason the FBI resisted sharing this form. It contained an unsubstantiated allegation from a dubious, reliable source. In 2020, the Trump DOJ had investigated Smirnov's claims and failed to find any evidence supporting them. No, they, like we, decided to ignore the claims because the source was not credible. And still is not credible. That does not dismiss the investigation and impeachment of Joe Biden, but they want it to. Oh, they desperately want it to. Back to the article put out by the New York Times. It states, for months we have warned that Republicans have built their conspiracies about Hunter and his family on lies told by people with political agendas, not facts. Abe Lowell, Hunter Biden's lawyer, sent in a statement, we were right and the air is out of their balloon. One unsubstantiated, unreliable source that everybody in the conservative media ignored is now suddenly the linchpin to take out the Biden impeachment. That's what they want you to believe. I can't make it up. Ignore Tony Bobulinski. Ignore it just because he's in front of congressional members right now. Wow, that's a matter of timing too, isn't it? Former Biden family business associate recycles unproven allegations to the House panel. Mr. Raskin demolishes his integrity. Ignore the emails. These can't, because of that other source that nobody talked about, these emails don't make a difference either. Let's just demolish Bobulinski, whose attorney slams Democratic spins of his client's testimony, disingenuous mischaracterizations. We know now why those attacks were so harsh. As they call them, minority assassination of Mr. Bobulinski's character and grotesque mischaracterizations of his words will only serve to highlight the gaslighting and vilification Mr. Bobulinski has endured since he reluctantly came forward almost 4 years ago to share with the public the facts of his business experience with the Biden family. As the public will see soon enough, Mr. Bobulinski has the facts and the receipts, and no amount of character assassination and or arrests of non-important characters that nobody talked about could change the facts. But the Biden administration wants those facts changed. The FBI was right, Slate goes on, to worry that releasing the form would be dangerous. When it gave a redacted version of the form to legislatures, the Republicans' hype machine went into overdrive. In his position as chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Comer repeatedly alluded to proof of corruption seemingly based on the form, but more importantly, but you see, that wasn't all that Comer was stating, was it? But that's how they're giving a summation. They want you to forget about everything else. Sean Hannity emerged as the forum's biggest booster. According to data from the liberal group Media Matters, understatement there, his show aired 85 segments promoting the bribery claim in 2023. Well, what about everybody else who didn't discuss this source? Let's just pick the one guy who did. You see, this is everything Biden's been waiting for. This is how they bundle misinformation and make it appear legitimate. It's a quintessential example. It's a study in exactly how they do it. One might hope that there would be vast recriminations and public embarrassment now that the feds have formally charged a source of so much drama with making it all up. It's all. But the damage in public perception from the episode is done and likely can't be corrected with news of the informant's arrest, just like you did to President Trump now, isn't it? Russia, Russia, Russia. Even if the right took it seriously, though, Fox News still has a few other Biden crime family storylines to mine that are not connected to Smirnoff or his form. And there, they made their biggest mistake. Because they're admitting there is other storylines that are more important than this, that can't simply be dismissed. Fox News still has a few other Biden crime family, in quotes, storylines to mine that are not connected to Smirnoff. You're right, they're not. Because none of us connected any stories to Smirnoff. I guess it doesn't matter though, right? Can't get Steele. Russiagate's done. Damage done. That's okay. This is not okay. Because now the Republicans are overhyping the findings of their Hunter Biden probe. You see, it's all over New York Times and Washington Post, so you pretty much know exactly why them and Slate. There's also the 2017 email in which a Biden associate used the phrase 10 held by H for the big guy in discussions of a partnership between Hunter and his uncle Jim Biden and the Chinese energy conglomerate CEFC China Energy. The draft agreement and later official agreement that resulted from this exchange made no mention of Joe Biden. There's no evidence the president was involved in any of this. Oh, Slate, that really doesn't have anything to do with your story. That has nothing to do with Smirnoff, but yet you're putting it in there because you're attempting to discredit the entire story, wrap it into one article, so you could say, game over, everything's done, have a nice day, let's rely on Media Matters to give us the facts about Sean Hannity, who I am not a huge fan of for this specific reason. That's why we all work very hard to make sure we stay on task. But if that wasn't bad enough, if they haven't tried to discredit enough, they then wrap in the 2017 WhatsApp message of Hunter Biden stating, "I'm sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled." They wrap this into the article, dismiss that also they'd like you to do. Smirnoff's claims were the most likely source of anything solid showing that the president was involved. Joe Biden may have been reckless in failing to prevent his son from using his family name for clout, but the Republicans' case for actual corruption is now a lot emptier. And they sat back. Bad, I did a good job. I discredited the entire story based on one unnamed source who's now named, who's now arrested, and nobody talked about, but we're going to claim he is now the most important centrifuge of the entire story. This is what they do. And it just so happened to coincide with Biden's impeachment inquiry, and it just so happened to coincide with her embarrassing report on Joe Biden. It just happens to coincide with plummeting political and economic indicators showing that Biden doesn't have a chance in hell at being elected. It just so happens to coincide with everything negative to turn it into something positive. Former FBI informant charged with lying about the Biden's role in Ukraine business, undercutting GOP's impeachment inquiry. This ex-FBI informant, who everybody ignored, if this paid, long-term, trusted FBI confidential human source, the government's paying them, really did lie to the FBI handlers, and shame on him. However, why didn't Weiss investigate the CHS's allegations in the June 2020 FD 1023 when the Pittsburgh USA was trying to brief his office? Why did the FD 1023? Why did they hide it from investigators? Why only investigate it after he becomes special counsel? Why did the FBI not investigate the confidential human sources earlier allegations in the 2017 FD 1023? Why did the FBI fight so hard to keep both FD 1023s from congressional oversight? Because they know it meant nothing, and they wanted to hold it for a later date because they feel that we, the people, could never comprehend this twist and rather will just accept one arrest and say, Biden's innocent. No problems here. Let it all go. Because Slate and Washington Post and the New York Times told me so, but Miranda Devine, excellent job on your summation. Benny Johnson comes out. The FBI whistleblower who exposed Biden's family corruption in Ukraine was just charged by David Weiss. The man investigating Hunter Biden is now prosecuting the person who claimed, bad statements on Hunter Biden and his family. That makes a ton of sense, I know. Skip all the other charges on Hunter Biden. Charged a man who allegedly risked his entire life to expose it all. Because now we're to trust, or not trust, or maybe somewhere in there who's telling the truth. You see what they've done with FBI informants lately? They've vilified each and every one of them, and why would this be any exception? Weird how the corrupt DOJ never managed to charge Christopher Steele, who peddled lie after lie after lie about Trump to the DOJ. In fact, instead, charging him, they paid him a great sum of money. I guess it depends on what side of the aisle you're on. But how could we validate all of this? How could we know that was the actual plan? How could we ignore Devin Archer? How could we ignore Tony Bobulinski? How could we ignore the inaccuracies that James Walker put out? One time saying that any time when Joe Biden was in office, or did you hear Hunter say that he was setting up a meeting with his dad? And his response was yes. Later, not recalling he even gave the interview and claiming no. But ignore that contradiction. Ignore the flag Chinese money that's been sent around. Ignore the allegations entirely. Ignore the IRS revelations. Hunter said Joe was in the room in message threatening Chinese partner. Ignore all his business associates admitting he wasn't really sure what Hunter actually brought to the table. Ignore it all. And how can I validate all of this with one statement from the White House, which goes to show you, and I'll close with it, that this was all? Well, according to Joe Biden. And how do I validate all of this? With one statement made by Joe Biden, because if everything I told you is true, the only thing he should be stating is drop everything, drop the impeachment, it's all a fraud. And lo and behold, guess exactly what he does. I love you all. You're going to watch it here in just a second. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.
An FBI informant at the center of the impeachment inquiry into you has been indicted for allegedly lying. Your reaction to that, and should the inquiry be dropped?
He is lying, and it should be dropped, and it's been an outrageous effort from the beginning.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, and why should we believe that this is any exception?